Metaphysical temple poets. Among famous poets of the 17th century, George Herbert was a legend of his time. He was Welsh-born on April 3rd, 1593. He became a pivotal figure in literacies, and you will find him nestled between Shakespeare and Milton in the English history. The Temple, which contained the bulk of his work, was published in 1633, shortly after he had died. A close friend, Nicholas Ferrier, published the contours of Herbert's life story. He sketched Herbert as a person born of noble birth, who gave it all up to serve at God's altar. Barnabas Olay, who was a royalist divine, envisioned Herbert to be a primitive, holy, and heavenly soul, one who had lived and died in peace. Herbert was considered to be a saint among saints. One of Herbert's poems from the Temple is called The Window. It is metaphorically structured on many levels. Its division is made into sections of the church, and its various poems named according to parts of the church. He structured his poetry in this way because poetry was actually a holy service to him. Another famous metaphysical poet from this time period was Richard Crashaw, who was born in circa 1613, and even though very little is known about him, he was considered a universal scholar and a transcendent genius. In 1638, he took the degree of Master of Arts, and then in 1641, he took degrees at Oxford. He was shortly thereafter sent by holy order of the Church to become an ardent and powerful preacher. Sometime later, he was introduced to Queen Henrietta by a friend, Lord Gemine. The Queen then gave him recommendation to Italy, and once there, he became secretary to one of the cardinals named Pallada. Sometime later, Crashaw worked for Lady Loretos, where he went on a pilgrimage in the summertime. He ended up overheating himself, took a fever, and died around 1652. A mystery surrounded his death, as some claimed he was poisoned. He was not popular, and he was considered a peevish, silly seeker who glided away from his principles in a poetic vein of fancy. His poem, And He Answers Me Nothing, is said to be faulty in that it was excessively emotional, with morbid excitability and over-enthusiasm. Although both of these metaphysical poets appear in the Temple writings during different parts of the 17th century, both were very influential in their time. Both Herbert and Crashaw had similar lives because of their fierce dedication to serve God and the Church. Their lives ended quite differently, with Crashaw possibly poisoned and Herbert considered to be a saint among saints.